Again, guys, this is the third section in chapter 29, and also this is part 2 in our review today. We will start with the terms and the names in this section. The first term here is unrestricted submarine warfare. It is using submarines to sink any ship without warning. It was conducted by Germany to blockade Germany and to stop any supplies to reach Great Britain from the Atlantic Ocean, from its allies, the United States. Total war is the war in which countries use all their resources for the war. As we said, total war means everything and all the resources of any country that was involved in the war, all its resources were devoted to the war efforts. Rationing, it means the control of the amounts of and the kinds of goods people can have. Propaganda is one-sided information designed to persuade. Armistice is agreement to stop fighting. Okay, these are the terms and the names in this section. So let's start now with the first section and first part in this section. War affected the world. What other areas of the world were involved? The Allies hoped to take part of the Ottoman Empire called the Dardanelles. The attack failed with great loss of life. A more successful operation was headed by a British officer named T.E. Lawrence. He helped lead an Arab revolt against Ottoman rule. As a result, the Allies were able to capture several important cities in Southeast Asia. Japan took German colonies in China and the Pacific Ocean. The Allies also captured 3 of the 4 German colonies in Africa. The British had used their strong navy to block all supplies from reaching Germany. The Germans responded by increasing their submarine attacks on ships, bringing food and supplies to the Allies. They used unrestricted submarine warfare. This means sinking any ship without warning in the waters around Great Britain. The main purpose of submarine warfare is to blockade Great Britain and stop any supplies to reach it. When American ships were sunk by lives were lost, the American people grow angry. And then the British intercepted secret message from Germany to Mexico. This message asked Mexico to ally itself with Germany. In return, Germany offered to help Mexico regain land lost to the United States. In the 1814s, in April 1917, Congress declared war on Germany. So now, what areas outside of Europe were affected by the war? Can you give me any answers, guys? Abdurrahman, can you give me an answer? What other areas outside Europe were affected by the war? Here is, we have the Ottoman Empire, what was in the war, and also here, outside Europe, yes, here is, we have an answer, yes, United States, Russia, but Russia was in Europe. If we are talking about other areas outside Europe, we have Japan, took what, sorry? Japan took German colonies in China, Pacific Ocean, okay? And also here, when American ships were sunk, which means American also grow angry and also they get involved into the war, okay? Yeah, okay. These are the other nations and also the other areas around outside Europe which were involved and affected by the war. What happened to the home fronts? By 1917, the war had already killed millions. It had drastically changed the lives of millions more people at homes, as well as soldiers fighting on the fronts. This was called the Great War or the Total War because called a total war, it demanded all resources of the countries that fought it. Okay, so this is extremely important. The definition of the total war, it means that all resources of the countries that fought on it were devoted to the efforts of the war. Okay, factories, farms, plantations, Everything, every single resource was directed for the efforts of the war. Government took control of factories. It told them what to produce and how much of it to make. Governments also used rationing. Rationing here, it means to limit how much food and other goods people could buy and hold. The same what happens nowadays in Egypt, for example. Okay, so we have another question here, also from, yes. Okay, so here, for example, rationing means, Abdurrahman, for example, as what we have nowadays in Egypt and also in most of the countries all over the world, that during the pandemic of the coronavirus, most people also had to take most of the goods that were supplied in the supermarkets, for example. That's why all the media and all the propaganda encourage people to rationalize their consuming, because all of the goods were not be able to be available in every supermarket during this crisis. Yes. Okay, so that way, armies in the field would have supplies they needed. Government used the propaganda to get support for the war. They also took steps to stop dissent or opposition to the war. To stop people to be against the war, they used the propaganda to encourage people to take the side of the war. With so many men in the military, women played a growing role in the economies of the countries at war. They worked in factories, offices, and shops. They built planes and tanks. They grew food and they made clothing. These changes had an impact on people's attitude toward what kind of work women could do. So the question now is that what were three ways that the war affected people's day-to-day lives? Okay, three ways. The first one is that government took control of factories and also limited how much food and goods people buy and hold. This is the first one. And also the war took steps to stop dissent or stop at war. Second one. And the third one was the women played growing role. The women built planes and also they worked, sorry, they started from here. They worked in factories, shops, they grew food, and also they made clothing. These are the three changes that affected the daily lives of the European people at the time of the war. Yes, limited how much food, and also the government took steps to stop dissent or to stop the opposition of the war using the propaganda, and also the women worked in offices and factories and shops, and they built plane tanks, and they grew food, and they made clothing. This is how the war affected the daily life of European people during the time of the First World War. Why did the Allies win? This is the end of the war. In 1917, the United States entered the war, and Russia left it. Suffering during the war chipped away at Russian people, support of the Tsar. In March, he stepped down. The new government hoped to continue fighting the war, but the Russian armies refused. Just a month later, a new revolution broke out. Communists seized Russia's government. That's why Russia withdrew from the war. They quickly made a treaty with Germany and gave up huge amounts of land in return for peace. In March 1918, Germany tried one final attack. Once again, the German army nearly reached Paris, but the soldiers were tired and supplies were short. Okay. Allies now, with fresh American troops, drove the Germans back. Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire surrendered. In October, a revolution overthrew the Emperor of Austria and Hungary. In November, Kaiser Wilhelm II was forced to step down in Germany. The new government signed an armistice, an agreement to stop fighting. On November 11, 1918, Europe was finally at peace. So what were the final problems that Germany and Austria and Hungary faced? This is this part here. In Germany, Kaiser Wilhelm was forced to step down. The new government, okay, This is for Germany and also for Austria and Hungary. A revolution overthrows the emperor of Austria and Hungary. This is the answer for question number 3. Here is what was the cost of the war. Okay, this is the last part in this section. World War I had a devastating effect on the world. About 8.5 million soldiers had died. Another 21 million had been wounded. Countless civilians had suffered as well. The economies of the warring nations had suffered serious damage. Farms were destroyed and factories ruined. One estimate said that the war had caused about $338 billion in damage. Yes. Yes, of course, it was so big number of money at this time. Okay, can you imagine that? $338 billion, which about the third or 1/3 of trillion dollar, which is big number so far and nowadays, which is very extremely big number at the time of the First World War. The war also had an emotional cost. People felt the suffering didn't seem to have purpose. The art and literature of the years after the war reflected new sense of hopelessness. So now, name one political, economic, and emotional cost of the war, the legacy of the war. So, in economic, so political, in the political, the war had a devastating effect, okay? Countless civilians, okay. This is one of the political. The economics suffered damage too. And social, if that's a war emotional cost, people felt that suffering no steam, and the art also reflect hopelessness. The first one, social, sorry, it's political. Second one, economical. And the third one was social or emotional effect of the war. So nowadays it's bigger than that. Of course, yes, it's so bigger than that. If we compare between this amount of money at the time of the First World War and this time, we must multiply this number by at minimum 10 times. Okay, so the answer for question number 3 is the political effect is about 8.5 million soldiers had died. Another 21 million had been wounded. Countless civilians had suffered as well. On the economic side, economies of the warring nations had suffered serious damage too. Farms were destroyed and factories ruined. One estimates that the war had caused about 338 billion in damage. The war also had an emotional cost. People felt all that suffering didn't seem to have a purpose. The art and the literature of the years after the war reflected a new sense of hopelessness. This is the answer for question number 4. Okay, so far, if you have any questions, you can send me on Jupyter. And also, if you have any questions now, you can send me on that chat. And also, you can switch on your microphone and sources especially. Do you have any questions so far? Any questions? Okay, did you put my mark? Okay, yes, of course, Abdurrahman, don't worry about your marks. Okay, just please send me your homework and as a photo on Jupyter, and once I receive it, I will modify and I will update your scores on Jupyter. Okay, but so far, I don't think that there is no questions for these sections. We have finished right now 3 sections, and also next Wednesday, we are going to finish reviewing the last 2 sections, which is the flow piece and also the war uncertainties, the time of uncertainties that came after the time of the First World War. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. I will stop recording now.